When I was very young, my mother was a school teacher, and my babysitter was so nice. Her name was Twyla Heyman, and she had a little girl who was just a few months older than me. Her name was Debbie. And Debbie and I used to play house. And Debbie had a very forceful personality, and she always wanted to be the mom, and that meant that I always had to be the baby. And finally, I would get fed up with this, and I'd say, let's go for a walk. And so we went for a walk one day, and down her street, there was a little boy named Teddy Smith. And Teddy Smith was there with some boys that were our age, and we began to play cowboys and Indians. And Teddy had a gun, and he said that he was going to shoot me, and I burst into tears. And we went home. Well, another day, I was bored doing the same, playing house with me being the baby, and Debbie said, well, let's go to Teddy Smith's house. Well, I didn't want to go to Teddy Smith's house, but I did want to stop playing house. So I said, let's go down the alley. Well, in those days, they had between blocks an alleyway. People would put their trash cans out in the alley, and the trash collectors would drive down the alley to pick up the trash. So it was just like a road, except it was not paved, and it was the back of the houses rather than the front. Well, this particular day, someone had left on their trash can a stack of newspapers. And on top of the stack of newspapers, there was a box of matches. And we saw the newspapers and the box of matches and decided they needed to be burned. Well, being good girls, and having had instructions from our parents, we wanted to keep the fire safe. So we took the lid off the trash can and laid it upside down. And we took one newspaper at a time and lit it and watched it burn. And when it was done, I said, we need some water to put on it to make sure that there are no sparks that will light up. And Debbie said, no, we don't. All we need is dirt. And so we scooped handfuls of dirt up and piled it on the ashes of the burnt newspaper, and got a stick and stirred it up good and dumped it out. And then we did the same thing with the next newspaper over and over again. Well, that particular day, my mom came to get me early. It was a special day. And she came to the house, and Twyla went to get us, and we weren't there. And so she started checking the neighborhood, checked Teddy Smith's house, and we hadn't come there. And so they walked through the neighborhood and found us burning newspaper. Well, my mom would have been upset, except for it was a very special day. And she wasn't mad at all. And Twyla was a little bit embarrassed because, first of all, she hadn't known where we are, and secondly, we were burning newspapers in the alley. But everything was fine. We got in the car and started home. And my mom said, there's a surprise waiting for you at home. And I go, what is it? She goes, it's really, really good. You will like it a lot. Better than anything else you can imagine. And I thought, what is the very best thing I can imagine? And I said, is it suckers? Because in those days you could buy a long string of individually wrapped all-day suckers at the store, and my mom would never buy it. So that was what I thought would be the very best thing. And she said, no, it's better than that. I could not imagine anything better than suckers. But we got home and walked through the kitchen and into the dining room, and there was my sister Annalie home from college. That was my first memory of her. But at that time, I knew who she was. And it was very exciting. And my mom said, "Is that better than suckers?" And I said, "Yes, definitely it is."